Hello and welcome back, my cozy community friends. I'm here again to read to you a new chapter of A History of Murder. This is book 1 in the Jericho Falls Cozy Mysteries. If you recall, in chapter 17, Chief Garner let Chloe know that William Weston could be marked off their list of suspects because he was actually at the hospital the night that Art died. So Chloe's marked him off. Unfortunately, she learned this information in a very embarrassing moment with Chief Garner when Jed ran down the hill to Chief Garner's home and relieved himself on Garner's garden gnome. So it was embarrassing to say the least, and it also left Chloe thinking that perhaps Garner has a girlfriend or a wife. So we will start now with chapter 18, Downward Dog. The next morning, I was embarrassed to find that my thighs and calves were sore from my unexpected sprint into town. I had really let myself go. When I limped into the kitchen, Grandma Lily looked at me quizzically. "What happened to you? Did the animals kick you all night?" I didn't want to tell her. I had made a late night visit to the chief's house. "Must be the bed," I told her. She looked at me with disbelief. "Okay," I said dramatically. I'd give her the half-truth. Jed took off when I let him out to go potty last night, and I had to run down the hill after him. I'm embarrassed by how out of shape I am, all right? She nodded, satisfied by my revelation. "Ah, well, Mr. Jed, it looks like you are not allowed outside without a leash until you can learn some manners." "Agreed," I said. So, Grandma Lily rubbed her hands together. Was I successful at getting Chief Garner out of there last night? "That was you?" I asked. Grandma Lily gave me a coy smile. "I happen to know that William Weston was in the hospital last night because of a prayer request from the Church Ladies' League." "So?" "Since I knew he was innocent, I decided it couldn't hurt to call in a false tip and hope Chief Garner took the bait." "Grandma!" I couldn't believe this woman. "Oh, don't be a ninny. I simply called the police department and told them I saw Mr. Weston's car in Lily Martin's neighborhood the night Art was killed. Then I hung up." She bit her lip, stifling a laugh. I wanted to shame her, but it was genius, and it worked. Once Garner left, I told her, the group theorized about the case. Bree made a good point. Your ribbon being left behind reeks of a frame job. Grandma Lily nodded slowly. "Yes, that's true." They also said we shouldn't count out William Weston, but he has an alibi, you say? I didn't want to reveal to her that I had seen Garner and learned the same thing. The whole scene was way too embarrassing to relive. "Yep, William was in the hospital all night," Grandma said. We ate a light breakfast, fed the animals, and gave them some cuddles. It almost felt like a normal morning, but then Grandma reminded me we had work to do. "Chloe," she said, "would you mind hanging around here this morning? We're open for tours, but I have a few errands." I told her I was happy to help, but warned her to be careful and not breathe a word about Nancy to anyone. Grandma pretended to pull a key out of her pocket, lock her lips, and place it back. "Which reminds me, Garner seems to think you have a motive. Are you sure he hasn't caught wind of your plot with Nancy?" "I'm positive," she said. "He's probably been browbeaten by Officer Porter. She's certain that since Art was found here with my ribbon, it was me who killed him." "I'm with Bree. It looks like you're being framed," I told her. "But by whom?" That was the problem. I didn't know. Grandma hoisted her purse onto her shoulder and put on a pair of turquoise sunglasses in place of her regular eyeglasses. Just then, Jed flopped at my feet. "He's getting attached to you," Grandma Lily smiled. "You should keep him." Jed seemed to understand and looked up at me with literal puppy dog eyes. I couldn't resist. I knelt to stroke his velvety soft head. I do like his company, I grinned. Good. At least my master plan concerning you seems to be coming together. Master plan? Grandma Lily winked. It's a secret. I rolled my eyes. I'm getting a little tired of you and your secrets, I told her while making a beckoning motion. Out with it. Sorry, dear, she said. Not yet. I pressed a little more, but she wouldn't say a word. I would just have to wait until she was ready to tell me. After Grandma left on her errands, I decided to stretch out my sore muscles. I changed into yoga pants and went to the front lawn. I tethered Jed, the runaway, with a long leash that I found on the back porch. Elliot stayed inside, sunning himself in a patch of sunshine on the library floor. As I eased the tension in my muscles, I tried to do the same for my mind. With Jed's help, I went over the bits and pieces I had learned from everyone so far. All right, Jed, let's think. With Weston's alibi taking him out of the mix, there are still 2 other people that we know have solid motives. Alice for her father's money, and Malcolm for Art's job. Jed looked at me, cocked his head to one side, and then proceeded to scratch an ear with his back leg. I decided that must mean he wanted to hear more. So, what did Chief Garner mean when he said Grandma Lily had a motive? Is it just Officer Porter planting those ideas or something more? Jed let out a huff and lay down. I'll tell you one thing. I bet Grandma and her pen pal never dreamed all of this would happen. Jed and I were both doing downward dog when I heard a timid, hello? I popped up to find Jeannie Painter standing there holding a tray of the Vintage Grill's signature bacon chocolate chip cookies and slabs of cornbread. Sorry to come over unannounced. Your grandma likes to have goodies for her tours, and Eric said she shouldn't have to bake at a time like this. My mind went back to Grandma's tube of store-bought cookie dough. What Eric didn't know wouldn't hurt him, and the gesture was very kind. I caught whiffs of bacon, brown sugar, chocolate, and honey coming from the tray. Thank you so much. It's perfect, I told Jeannie. I told Jeannie that Grandma Lily had stepped out, but would be back soon. Oh, she said. I thought I heard you talking with someone. Jeannie glanced around the yard with a look of confusion. I pointed at my chest. Me? Yeah, you said something about your grandma and her pen pal? I tried to laugh. Gosh, I was just rattling on to Jed. Nothing important. Jeannie looked unconvinced. Hey, you seem busy. I'll put this inside for you. She was already moving up the steps toward the front door. Sure, that'd be great. Yeah, just great. Me and my big mouth. Okay, that does it for chapter 18. Hopefully, Chloe just did not spill the tea and let Jeannie in on something she didn't want her to know. We'll have to wait until next week with chapter 19 to find out. But I did want to mention something to you. You heard about the bacon chocolate chip cookies in that episode, and as a member of my newsletter subscribers, you get a copy of that recipe. So think about subscribing. The links are below, as well as links to all my internet accounts. So please join me there. Subscribe and like the video, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.